The first day of spring planting is off to a rough start. We got the seed tender loaded up over here with this auger with some corn. Brought the seed tender to our planter to start offloading some corn into the planter. And the seed tender hydraulics don't work, so we're not able to swing the auger to load the planter. So we brought the seed tender back over to the shop to see what's going on. What's going on?
We have no hydraulic pressure whatsoever on the seed tender.
To replace both these fuses.
Well, if it's a hydraulic problem. Tried putting the battery charger on the battery for the seed tender, and all of a sudden the hydraulic system works on it. So now we're gonna put on a new battery back here on the seed tender, and hopefully that fixes it so we can go load the planter. We'll give her a try here. No. It's working. Now that we got the seed inside the tank, we're gonna add a little e-flow in here. This just helps lubricate the seed, make it run smoother through our meters. So we'll put a little bit of that in there. And then I got this drill to mix it up, get a nice coat on the seed. Be ready to go. Seed is in the planter. Now Dad's sitting inside the cab, gonna energize each row. So basically, what I mean by energizing is he's sending seed from the tank to each individual meter, and then we'll do a quick runoff here, make sure seed's dropping out of each individual row before we head out to the field. Now we're just double checking. He ran some seed out, making sure there's one under each row. And it looks to be that each row's working. So we'll give him the old thumbs up. Last fall when I went around and boundary marked all of our fields, the goal was to not have to be able to use the markers on the planter. That way we can use our high-speed planter alongside all of the picture frame boundaries of the field. So today I'm going to be riding with Dad in the cab for sure on this field to help him get the planter set and to teach him, show him how that technology works, since he'll be running the planter some this spring as well. And now we dig behind the planter to double check our depth. The seed depth and seed trench look to seem all right, so we hop back in the cab. Gonna keep working the outside of the field. Dad doesn't overly trust the boundaries I made, so he took the marker out just in case we do end up touching the steering wheel. We won't be able to use the GPS. So the marker is out, so we're just making the first pass around the outside of the edge of the field now. We finished the easy portion of the field where there was no fence line using the auto track. Now we're doing the hard portion. There's a fence line here. We're gonna trust the auto steer and the technology to guide the tractor and planter up this end of the field. There it goes. Things are looking good. The marker's clear in the fence post. Still yet to hit one. You can see there on the map where the planter's mapping. We got the purple field edge. Things are working good here. We made it past this fence line, and not for one single time did we hit this marker bracket on any of the fence posts, so it's safe to say I passed my test. Now Dad's gonna trust the technology, at least I hope, so we can drive a little bit faster, put the high-speed planter to use on the headlands when we have obstacles at the edge of the field like this. Everything on the planter checked out to seem to be working, so I kicked the boss man out of the cab for a little bit. He went to go check another field, see if we can start working some more ground ahead of the planter. Since we did drop the marker, we still have the marker line, which I would traditionally steer out with the steering wheel. But since we're using the GPS method, I no longer have to drive this out, and we'll have a perfectly spaced 30-inch row between this planter pass and the previous one. I finished the borders and Dad came out. We checked the depth again, made some adjustments, and surprisingly, he says he wants to stay up in the yard, get the field cultivators going, and go out and start digging. So today, I'm gonna be the first person to have to deal with the first day of planting struggles of us working out here in this 160-acre field. In the field I'm planting right behind me today, we're planting some 106-day maturity corn. Since this farm is relatively new to us, this is the third growing season that we've farmed it. Rather than doing a variable rate prescription based off our previous year's history for yield, we're just doing a static planting rate on this farm of 36,500 corn plants per acre. Since today's the first day of spring planting for 2024, let me show you guys some of the displays and everything we got going on inside the cab as we're planting here in live action. So here's our Precision Planting 2020. This has all of the data that's getting streamed off the planter, such as the instantaneous singulation, the population, ground force, ground contact, as well as this new thing I put on here this past year, which is a smart firmer. So this tells us the soil temperature is 51 degrees down in the seed trench, as well as our moisture and the percentage of cleanness on the furrow. And the way that's being monitored is there is a tail that drags along behind where all the seeds are placed in the trench to take all of those sensors and readings for this display. And then on our iPad here, we're running Climate Field View, where we can look at anything such as our planting population, our good ride metrics, so how much chatter is in the row unit, as well as say our downforce that's being applied through our delta force cylinders, so how much weight we're actually putting down on the row unit. You can see that map on here. Then we have our clean sweep controller. So this, by turning to the clockwise, I put our row cleaners out in front of the row units down further. You can adjust those manually. To gauge how far I want to move those, I often look at this clean furrow metric, which tells me how much trash that smart firmer is finding within the trench, and then adjust this gauge accordingly. And then on the tractor side of things, we have our John Deere Gen 4 display, which is controlling all of the GPS with the globe I have on the tractor, as well as the globe back right here on the planter. So actually, this globe right here on this planter communicates with the globe in the tractor. That way we know round after round after round, we're consistently staying at 30-inch spacing between one round of the planter and the next round of the planter. This morning we loaded the planter with 50 bags of seed, or 4 million kernels of seed corn. And now I'm just backing the planter up to the ditch where Dad's at with the seed tender, so we can load up another 50 bags in it. I'm watching the corn fill inside the hopper tank. Dad's watching the scale on the other side of the seed tender. That way we make sure we put the same amount of seed in each one of our big hoppers, so we don't run out in one and not the other. Since the seed hoppers on the planter are now loaded up, we should have ample seed to finish the remainder of 30 acres left at this field. And then with the extra 106-day maturity that we're gonna have from this farm, we're gonna jump across to a 240-acre piece right across from our farm site and start planting over there. Just making the last full 24 rows of this field. As you can see with this map, I don't have a full 24 rows yet to go, just a few spots to fill in here. And when we fill in pieces like this is where it's nice to have individual row control or electric drive motors like we do, because then we're saving on our seed costs, because rather than sending seed down rows 17 through number 1 where we already have seed out in the field, we're only sending seed down to rows 18 to 24. This field is now finished, but unfortunately we finished at the wrong end of the field since there's only road access down here on this end of the field. So now we're just driving back, deadheading as I say, back up to the road to fold up before we head to the next one. Sounds like Dad wants to get in on some of the first day of planting action fun. So I'm gonna take the pickup now out to the field that he's started working with the field cultivator, and he's gonna start driving the planter. And I'm gonna finish field cultivating that field in preparation for tomorrow. Here comes Dad behind me with the field cultivator on the farm that I call our gravel pit, because this field literally has an infinite number of rocks. So let's head on in there and bring up some great new rocks for me to pick up this summer. Coming from the planter to driving the four-wheel drive is a big change. We don't have all the displays over here we gotta watch. Basically, you just have to watch the GPS and make sure nothing breaks on the digger itself. Dad called, he needs some more seed to finish that field tonight. So Mom and I are just about to load up the seed tender. Here's the next box of seed we're gonna load up in the seed tender. Let's see how many bags are in this one. It's a seed pack 50. So we got another 4 million seeds we're dumping into the seed tender, which should be enough to finish that field for tonight. Before I head out there with the seed tender, I'm gonna check with the phone on my app to see where Dad's at with the tractor, just so he's not at the clear other end of the field, so I'm not waiting on the road any longer than what I have to. Looks like he's waiting at one end of the field, so I might as well head out there with the seed tender. We actually changed the plan of how we're gonna load the planter here. As you saw, we planned on him just backing into the ditch, me loading him off the road. But when we loaded here last year, because I set up so much higher, because this is a paved road, the auger has to sit almost perfectly horizontal and the auger plugged. So I'm just gonna pull in the field and we'll just load him from there. Planter's loaded now. He's not gonna have quite enough seed to finish this 240-acre farm, but hopefully the plan is for tomorrow. We usually put in a 30-acre test plot, so get everything on this field done except for where we're gonna have that test plot. I'm gonna head back up to the yard. We gotta dump some bags for the seed tender because we're gonna need more bags in this field, as well as start changing some sweeps out on the field cultivators. Here's the plan for tonight before the sun goes down. I got 31 bags here on this pallet. Those are gonna go in the front half of the seed tender. have 33 bags over here on this pallet. Those will go in the back half of the tender. Should have just enough seed to finish that field before the night ends. It's getting far too dark out here, and we still got a fair amount of work yet to be done for day 1 of corn planting. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Thanks so much everybody for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.